Hey, I'm NichBoy, and welcome to Pocket. Now, there is a scary amount of high-profile games still to come in the months before Christmas, and Bajo and Hex have to review them all. With only 2 weeks before the storm hits, let's see how they're feeling. Bajo, Hex, thank you very much for joining me. So my job, pretty much, is to play a bunch of games and never finish them. But your job is to play a bunch of games and finish all of them, and then give definitive reviews that will live forever online.
Yes. Well, we try our best to finish them. We don't finish everything. MMOs, for example.
Unfinishable.
Unfinishable games, yeah. Or like massive 40, 60-hour RPGs and stuff like that.
Or some of that Tony Hawk bullshit.
Oh yeah, finish that one quickly. That one nearly finished me. It's terrible.
So we're coming out to a season where there's a bunch of games coming out, and not just like a lot of games, but a lot of huge games, and a lot of, like, I guess, necessary games for our fandom, I guess. How are you preparing for the onslaught?
With excitement.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited. I love this time of year because the games are just so big and exciting and AAA and blockbuster and interesting and long, and it sets you up for the Christmas break we have where I've got these 30 games to finish now. It's exciting.
We prep with workout montages mostly.
I wonder, like, just lifting controllers.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So I guess, like, what are you looking forward to? Well, out of the huge stuff that's coming up, what's most on your radar?
I think, we've just played the Battlefront beta, so that was one of the ones that we were looking forward to a lot. That's yet to come out, but the beta has given us a good sense of what that's going to be like. Tomb Raider is the other big one that I'm super excited about as well. That's probably top of the list. It was especially playing through, I just recently played through the Uncharted collection as well.
Yeah, same.
And playing through Uncharted 2 again, you can see where they've drawn so many influences with the first sort of Tomb Raider reboot in the action and the way, the character gets so beat around and all the kind of puzzles and the approach to survival and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see how they'll take it a step further.
Yeah.
I'm excited about they're exploring tombs a bit more, it seems. Because the tombs were always quite small in the first one, which was fine. But now it looks like they're kind of expanding on that and maybe expanding the puzzles a bit more.
Yeah, and there's puzzles and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Tomb Raider was kind of creating more of an origin story for her, so they were focusing more on her characterization and her kind of coming to grips with,
becoming
the
a murderer.
horrors of her situation and becoming a murderer.
Yeah.
And now that they've kind of got that out of the way, she's got a gun, she's good to go. She can kind of focus more on the cool tomb raiding that she is so famous for.
I think that's probably my most anticipated game. I'm also excited for the fact that it's something that I look at and I go, I know I'm gonna finish you.
Yeah.
Like it's so nice to know that, like, you're 15 hours long and I'll get it done in like a weekend, and I could put a bow on it and go, all right, that's been complete.
You pick up a game like that and it's pretty much the controller is glued to your hand the entire time.
Unlike Fallout 4.
Which I'm guessing is what you're most excited for.
I think so. I'm actually equally excited with that and Just Cause 3, but Fallout especially because I can live in that game for a time.
Yeah.
It's a big world. There's a lot to do. I've got to build a house. I'm already making plans. It's going to be a massive journey. And a game which is just going to completely absorb me in another world with that music. I can't wait to see what the music selection is.
I feel like you talk about the Fallout series with more romance than I've heard you talk about any other game franchise. You seem to have a real personal connection with it and the music as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is because it's kind of a shooter, but it's really an RPG about the decisions you make, and you have such free reign in what you want to do. You come to a city and you can just kill everyone and get the one item that you found on someone, which is part of the quest. Or you actually can live out all these stories and help people.
It doesn't stop you from doing things because they're like, that's not how we want you to play it.
And it
gives you those options.
It's big enough to do that. And Skyrim did that a bit too, but Skyrim, you can't kill everyone in Skyrim. And you can't kill everyone in Fallout either, but it just feels a bit more free, and I feel like that world is really raw and exciting to destroy.
I'm excited because it looks like a world that it sounds very shallow to say this, but the visual appeal of a game is a big deal for me, especially when I'm going to spend 40 hours.
Yeah, you want it to be a place that you'll be happy to live in.
Yeah, which is why I've loved the Elder Scrolls games so much. Oblivion in particular was just so beautiful.
Yeah, because between everything you can go pick flowers for like 45 minutes. So this is nice. Like this is how this character would spend a Sunday.
I would spend time just watching myself ride through fields of flowers, and then I would take take screenshots of it and then just look at myself, you know, like next to some ruins and things like that. It's just beautiful.
Taking screenshots of a vault full of people named Steve isn't as good. But it's also, it highlights the humor of the Fallout games.
They were just, I think, just because of the you know, graphical capabilities back then, those games were very brown and felt a bit one note to me. But then when they, you know, they launched this Fallout 4 footage, I was like, holy crap, that looks like post-apocalyptic but stunning, and like they found ways to inject color in there and yet still make it feel kind of quite barren and you know.
Yeah, I feel like that's, for me, Fallout, I look at Fallout and I go, intellectually I'm very excited for the game. I just know that I'm going to put like 20 hours into it and then put it down. But I think that I will get enough out of, I'll experience the world, because like you said, it's about the world.
Yeah.
So I'll go, as long as I feel like I've experienced what the world had to offer me, then I can get out. Because the story will be branching off into all these different places, and I'll just go, yeah, okay, cool, I found a dog, I built a house, someone attacked my house, I'm done. Moving on from, like, how excited you are to lose yourself there, are there worlds that you don't want to get involved in? Like, I would say Assassin's Creed as being an example of a series that I know you love. Are you excited about a new one coming?
Yeah, I really am. You know, I feel like every time an Assassin's Creed game is you know, about to come out, I'm always like, oh, really? And then as soon as I get into it, I'm like, oh, I remember why I love this now.
Yeah.
And you know, they keep finding interesting ways to hook you back in. And I was listening to a really great interview with Austin Wintory just recently, who was talking about his approach to scoring it. In case you didn't know, he's done the whole score for the game, which is awesome. And he said he's really changed the way the game, well, he says himself, he's changed the way the game feels just through the music, because the music is like almost like he's written like a ballet.
Yeah, right.
And it's got a lot of, you know, tavern music and stuff in there as well, and things like that, but it's going to feel quite different, I think. And also the city itself, London is going to be the largest city that they've attempted, I think, for an Assassin's Creed game, but they've included that kind of ziplining.
The ziplining thing is cool because there's actually, because they've added all the carriages and stuff, the streets are way wider. So in previous games, there were heaps of parts where you'd be running on a rooftop and then you'd leap across.
You could just leap across the, yeah.
And I was playing and I'd go to leap and he would stop and be standing there and it's like, you can't do that at all. Like, and so it's running and there's nothing crossing over. So you end up using the zip line a bunch to get over to different places.
Yeah, so I think you're going to be able to cover a lot of ground very quickly using that, and it's going to make such a daunting, like, large city, you know, a lot more easier to traverse. And I also just like the idea that you're playing as two characters now. You're playing twins.
Yeah.
They finally got, you know, a chick in there, and I think that dynamic, their personalities are quite different, and how they fight and how they approach problems apparently is quite different as well. So,
are you stressed about the fact that, like, you're going to need to wedge that in with Halo before Fallout, which is, I think it's like 11 days later?
Yeah,
you are now.
I'm not stressed.
Sorry.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's stressful, like, from deadline points of view.
Yeah, but it's fun.
You know it's coming, so
Yeah.
you just, like we were talking about before, you prepare for it. You prep. It's like, okay, these weekends are gone for great times ahead. It's hard to get too stressed about playing
you know
these
what?
games.
It's like the end of year push before we have like a 6-week break of just nothing. Like, so you kind of go into a hole for a few weeks,
Yeah.
right in the lead up to Christmas,
Yeah.
and then we have this massive break where we just, you know, the show is on holiday essentially. So
Everyone's unemployed.
you can kind of push through and put in like long hours knowing that we have this kind of downtime at the end of it, so it's okay.
Okay, so there's pretty much nothing that you're not looking forward to. I'm surprised that you haven't mentioned Halo, since in any other year Halo would be like this huge thing, and now it's been swamped by building houses and ziplining across London streets.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of just, you know, I think people
You know, it's in like
always
2 weeks.
expect Halo to deliver, but yeah, it's hard. It gets swamped by other things. It sort of sits in the shadow.
It's a safe bet, though. Like, Halo's always highly produced.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, oh yeah, that's going to come out. I'm going to have a good time with it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
An unsafe bet for me would be Need for Speed. I love that series. I want those games to be good, but every time I want a Need for Speed game to be good, it's not. And then every time I think it's going to be crap, I'm surprised that it's actually really fun.
I'm a little worried about Need for Speed. I'm excited about it because I love the franchise.
Yeah.
Especially when Criterion were working on it.
Yeah.
It's got this film grain
Yeah.
over the whole thing, and that might be great. It might be really edgy and cool, but it also might be really frustrating. So I don't know. I'm just not quite sold on the theme of it yet. I'm just cautious about it. Also, there's a lot of full motion video, I believe.
FMV, baby.
And I don't know how that's going to go, because it rarely goes well in racing games.
No,
with
it's
this
not
story.
good at all.
I think full motion video is due for a comeback.
I think it should die.
No. I mean, you know, I remember really loving it in Command and Conquer type sort of games and stuff like that. And I think
15 years ago.
Yeah, but when it was just a
Yeah,
little
but-
guy in like a square Square giving you a command, not some cool Vin Diesel
I feel like racing games is kind of, because they're so like, the story in racing games is so naff already anyway. Like, why not
That is
camp
true.
it up with full motion?
Yeah.
Why not just get rid of it and let's just race?
Yeah, just ditch the story. Yeah, true. I would take full motion video in like a Just Cause situation.
Yeah.
Like if I could have an explosion to see a real person flying out of a helicopter that then suddenly I turned into and rolled away.
Oh no, I feel like there'd be like a bit of a disjointed feel with that. I
Yeah,
think.
right.
You know,
But
Just Cause is gonna be like all or nothing.
I am looking forward to Just Cause.
I think, actually, it may be one of the greatest action games of all time.
Whoa.
This is what I think it could be based on the footage I've seen.
I reckon
it's
it
just so exciting.
It could totally be, for me, the game that sticks around for longest.
Yeah.
Like
It's
the
just-
one that I dip back into the longest because it is like a playground to jump in, and it's not necessarily like, oh, I love living in this world. It's like, no, I had an idea about things I could rope together. Like, and I want to figure
It's
that
just
out.
one of the gamiest games ever
Yeah.
in terms of the fact that you can like tie two planes to each other and
It just knows how to have fun, you know?
it doesn't limit you in any way, and that's just so wonderful.
And the open world of Just Cause 2 is like still one of the most beautiful open worlds I've ever played.
Yeah. So right now it's sort of like the 2 weeks come before the storm. What are you guys playing up until then?
Just finishing off the Battlefront beta at the moment, getting into that, unlocking everything.
We played the beginner's guide as
Yeah.
well, and that was really intense, man.
Yeah. And we're all just sitting by the phone waiting for that Halo code to become available.
Yeah, that's a phone call I would definitely be waiting for. All right, well, we're going to leave it there. Bajo and Hex, thank you very much for joining me. That's it for today's episode of Pocket. NichBoy out.
Hex out.